Nice to see you all. I hope you had a nice weekend and that you celebrated the Cal Poly graduation and the beautiful weather we were having, and that you're doing well today. So my name is Bettina Swigger. I'm the CEO of Downtown SLO, and this is our weekly Zoom meeting with our board of directors and our membership. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you for being here. For those of you who are joining again, thanks for tolerating the spiel that we do every week. So we're gonna lead you through, we have a slide deck that we show for this meeting, and we're gonna have an open conversation with a number of our collaborators in economic development around the community. So your Downtown SLO Board of Directors includes the wonderful people pictured on this screen, and thank you for being on this call today. We had a closed board session where we approved a budget and discussed some internal operations last week. Thank you for your time on that meeting, and thank you for your leadership during these times that we're living in. We also have 3 government liaisons on our board of directors who are from the city of SLO. We have Council Member Aaron Gomez, and staff from the city. We have the Deputy City Manager Greg Herman, and from the county we have Chris Lopez. So thanks to all of you. And I'm going to hand it over to Rachel Maiorino, our Chief Operating Officer, to tell us about where we're at today, June 15th.
Thanks, Bettina. As of Friday, we were at 324 positive tests of COVID-19 in SLO County with 285 recovered, thankfully still holding at 1 death in the county. The guidelines for business operations regarding face masks and coverings, all of this information is available at readyslo.org. And that involves specifics for each business sector. For example, restaurants may have differences than hair salons, etc. A reminder that we're still in the first wave, and that the shelter at home order was, initially to slow the spread, to give hospitals so that they weren't overwhelmed. Flattening the curve was the phrase. And just as we're looking to other states, seeing how as they've reopened earlier, we're kind of looking at those trends to see how that might be, coming down the line. Very optimistic, but just, kind of a reminder of where we're at and looking to other states to see what may be to come. We are in stage 2 of the California Resilience Roadmap, with the newest additions starting no sooner than June 19th. And that would be for body art and personal services. So things such as massage, nail art, that will be coming soon. And again, I will post in the chat the reopening for our county. And if anyone has any questions, they have the hotline information there. Thanks so much.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And just a heads up for all of you, if you are checking the county's website every day to see the new testing numbers, they have stopped posting the new numbers over the weekend. So you can see the positive tests that have come in over the weekend will be posted today, but there were no new tests posted on Saturday or Sunday. Also a reminder that Dr. Penny Borenstein, our county public health officer, does press conferences, and I believe the next one that she'll be having is today at 3:15. Rachel, is that correct? Do you remember? Any chance?
I will check and I will post it in the chat for everybody.
Thank you. And to find out more about that, that's in the Facebook. SLO County Public Health is a great place to tune in and watch those regular updates. So as Rachel said, we are still in stage 2 of the Resilience Roadmap, and we saw some additional openings taking place over the weekend. We've seen an expansion of some dine-in in restaurants. And then this Friday, we had bars without food service open. And I know there were some pictures and conversations posted on the on social media this weekend of some very, very crowded city streets and bars that were full. So we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about that today, but that is the reality that we're operating in right now. Chris Lopez, as I mentioned earlier, serves as our liaison to the County of SLO for our board of directors. And I just spoke to him. He was hoping to join us on the call today, but he unfortunately is having emergency dental surgery. So our thoughts are with him. And I'm going to give you just a quick update from what he told me is happening at the county. The county has been working, obviously, very, very hard on the public health emergency that we've been dealing with since the beginning of March. The county also provides a lot of services to the public, and they've been working behind the scenes trying to establish safe protocol to reopen their offices and their service departments. And the date that we've heard is now the date where you can go into the county and get the county clerk, get your taxes paid, all of that stuff, is July 6th. So they're working toward that. They're also working on evaluating a lot of their staff and their workspaces within the county offices. As we know, the county seat is in downtown San Luis Obispo, and in normal times, there are between 400 and 600 employees in the downtown who are working for the county every day. A lot of those workspaces are not operational at this time due to the pandemic, so they're working to figure out a way to bring people back into the downtown. I bring this up because we're all residents of the county, and we probably need to be aware of when we can have conversations with our county leaders and our county staff, but also because that means that more people will be coming into the downtown on a daily basis, especially during the week, to shop in our shops and dine in our restaurants. So that will be an additional influx of people that we can be looking ahead to welcoming. And next up, we'd like to invite Luke Schwartz from the City of SLO to talk about a really exciting project, which is the Open SLO Streets program. Luke, take it away.
All right, thanks, Bettina. I hope everyone can hear me okay. Yeah, we're really excited to kick off our Open SLO program starting this week. So Open SLO is essentially a program to look at ways the city can use and repurpose our public right-of-way to give people more opportunities to physically distance, and also to help our local business community recover and return to some sense of normalcy. So the activities that we're starting with this week, starting Thursday and Friday evening, we'll be closing Monterey Street for the 2 blocks adjacent to Mission Plaza. So from Choro Street to Oso Street to car traffic, essentially pedestrianizing those streets, as well as Mission Plaza, where the city will be putting out some public tables and encouraging people to visit downtown, grab takeout from their favorite restaurant, and go enjoy their meal creekside. And in tandem, we're offering opportunities for businesses within the downtown to utilize these street closures to get a permit from the city and place their own tables and chairs to give them a chance to expand their restaurant dining space for restaurants. And then for retail businesses, they're also welcome to put out outdoor retail displays if they want to help attract foot traffic and attention to their businesses. So we'll be starting this week looking at Thursday afternoon and Friday afternoon, similar hours to the farmers market closures. So 5 to 8 o'clock is the rough time frame that the streets will be closed. And then also extending that during the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday starting at 11 a.m., a little later in the morning to allow times for trash collection and deliveries earlier in the day. And then that'll be closed from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monterey Street this Saturday and Sunday as well. So the next week, we'll be opening up to the full series of closures that we've been planning. So that'll again include Mission Plaza with public seating for takeout dining, Monterey Street closed to car traffic, and then also including Higuera Street. Again, the same kind of stretch that you would have seen during a normal farmer's market from Oso Street to Napomo, that'll be closed to car traffic, open to pedestrians, outdoor dining, retail displays. And it'll be clear too that in our messaging, this isn't a big special event like farmers market with entertainment and food vendors and things like that. It's really just expanding the space within the downtown for people to visit and shop and eat out like they normally would. One thing I'll note that's a little different from what you would have seen with the normal farmers market is we're still keeping side street traffic open. During the Marsh Street Bridge closure, the traffic patterns are a little different in the downtown. So for now, we're still keeping, Oso Street, Morrow Street, Choro Street, Broad Street open to side street traffic. while the main blocks on Higuera and Monterey will be closed to only pedestrians. So if anyone's looking to get more information, we have a streamlined permit process for downtown businesses that are interested in being able to put their own tables and chairs out, and we can help outline what space is available to you while still maintaining a clear width for pedestrians and emergency traffic if needed. We have a website set up. It's openslo.org that has all this information, that has maps of what closures are going to be in place, schedules. There's a link to fill out an application for a tables and chairs permit. And then for restaurants that already have existing liquor licenses, we have some links to go to the ABC to request permission and permits to expand your alcohol sales to within your reserved dining areas if you're interested. And they have some guidance that they can give you as far as what requirements need to be met to do that. But we're trying to be flexible and nimble, and knowing that this is going to be a kind of a temporary pilot project that will be going on weekly throughout the next year. Up to the next year is the time frame. So we're looking for input if there's things that you see that are working or that aren't working. Our contact info is on that website, or you can get my contact information from Bettina, and I'm happy to walk you through anything and answer any questions. Some other strategies within the Open SLO program that we're moving towards next are looking at some pilot parklet installations. So if you haven't seen a parklet, is essentially that image that Bettina has up there, basically just extending the sidewalk. It's a temporary, extension of the sidewalk space that can be used just one to open up space for more foot traffic and for seating and chairs for outdoor dining. We've gotten, we did a survey. I'm sure a lot of you participated a couple of weeks ago and got information on who might be interested in a parklet in front of their business. And so right now we're looking at a short list, doing some site surveys to see what locations just will physically work. And then we'll be following up with some specific businesses in the coming weeks to make sure there's still interest. And the plan is that the city will install four to six parklets, including a location or two outside of the downtown. And then beyond that, depending on the success, we might open up that program for businesses that would like to put in their own. And we can walk them through the logistics and design standards. But that's another really exciting piece of this program that we're working on. There's some other elements too that we'll be continuing to look at down the road, including potential for some temporary quick build projects to improve walkability and safety for people that are out walking and jogging and riding bikes more these days throughout the city. So we're super excited. And again, it's going to be an iterative process that we'll be tweaking along the way to make sure we get it right. But we're really excited about it. If you need more information, go to openslo.org or ask Bettina for my contact info, and I'm happy to walk anyone through any questions.
Okay, Luke, I think we're losing a little bit of your audio there. You turned into a kind of a crazy robot from the future.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I think you're frozen. He's probably going to join us back in just a minute here. I know I've seen some questions in the chat that we'll hope to ask Luke, but it's really exciting to see this project move forward. And while he's not here here to defend himself, I will just say that it's been really fun to work with him. He's the director of active transportation. And so he's definitely an engineering type, and it's been really fun to work on the creative ways that businesses can use this space and the right of way. Luke, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, my internet gets spotty every once in a while. So I'll just summarize quickly. I'm happy to answer any questions. Go to openslo.org. We have all the information on there. If you want to reach out to me directly, Bettina has my contact information, or just go to openslo.org and you can contact me through the email information there.
Great. And I do have some questions for you, Luke, since we've got you here. One is, will bicycles be allowed in the closed streets?
Yes, and we'll be looking to get some additional bicycle parking established during the closures. bicycles will be allowed. We will be asking people to be safe and not be streaming through the street closures, but either to dismount their bike and walk or go slow, 5 miles an hour or so, to not create a safety concern with pedestrians. But yes, bicycles will be open to travel High Garrett and Monterey streets during the closures.
Great. And then another question, because we always like to talk about parking, is the idea that people park in the structures and then walk to experience the pedestrian-friendly sidewalks and streets now?
Yes, so like always, we're encouraging anyone that's staying for a while to park in the garages. Right now, they're free. Even when we return at some point to charging for parking again, they'll be free for the first hour, and there's a really low price beyond that. We're also, during the street closures, we'll be prioritizing side street parking for more quick turnover takeout and an ADA parking during the street closures.
Great. And there is a question in the chat about pickups and deliveries. So I know that the city has put out orange meter bags that have 15-minute spots for people to come in and pick up, whether they ordered online or takeout delivery or something retail. Are those going to be moved onto the side streets during the street closures, or how will that work?
Yeah, those will still be up through the whole rest of the week outside of the street closures. We're placing more of those types of bags on the side streets to keep those spaces open and turning over for people that just need them for a quick pickup or delivery. And then if any businesses have specific needs that the closures are creating a challenge, like you have a certain delivery that comes at a certain time that you can't avoid, reach out to the city. Either just Google the Public Works Department and give us a call, or if you know the parking manager, Gavin Hussey, directly, he's the one that can help you arrange for any specific curb space reservations or unique delivery needs. Our parking staff can help you make that work.
Great. And yeah, Gavin's been on this call before. He's a wonderful resource for our downtown businesses. Thank you, Luke. And I'm just curious, what's the response been? Have you had a lot of businesses fill out the permit application?
Yeah, I think we have 4 businesses that already have their permits issued. We're trying to make it very streamlined. There's no fee involved during this pilot period. There's a couple of pieces of information that our permit staff needs, including a copy of your insurance certificates, your business information. And then we have some maps where we'll highlight exactly what areas we can reserve for each business. And then our goal is to be able to turn those around within 24 hours. So there's been a lot of interest already. I did get a note that one business this morning was having trouble getting our email contact to work. I think our IT department has that issue resolved. But yeah, we've had a lot of responses, and my hope is that there's a lot of people looking to participate. But we will have our own public tables out too. So if you have a restaurant or a business, there'll be other people that patron your business that'll have a chance to come out and enjoy the downtown and enjoy the experience, even if you don't aren't interested in placing your own tables out.
Great. And one more question. What is going on with social distancing? We know that this program has been implemented in part to encourage people to maintain their physical distance. Will there be any staff on hand to kind of monitor that, or do you have any answers to that question?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have signs in any of the street closures in Mission Plaza that serve as a reminder that, hey, we still are looking to practice responsible social distancing. We'll have hand washing stations available, and we're looking at having masks available too, face coverings for folks that don't have their own, but we're definitely still encouraging people to follow good hygiene practices, wear face coverings, and keep a good distance. And part of the strategy in stretching this out over several days instead of one concentrated event is to avoid kind of big crowds or a concentration in one point in time, and let the demand kind of spread out over several days so that there's enough space and that it doesn't become a crowding situation. But it'll be something we're watching closely. We have staff on hand that will be sanitizing tables and reminding people if they see groups not following those recommendations, but it'll be an ongoing focus for us to make sure that that's being followed.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for the update. We'll look forward to hearing about how it goes and seeing it this Thursday on Monterey and Higuera next week. Okay. Next up, we have another report from the city of SLO. I just saw something in the chat. How about Choro Street? Choro Street will be remaining open because of the Marsh Street Bridge project. So that is a through traffic street at this time. So Lee, are you on the line?
I'm here, Bettina. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
So what's going on in your world?
Well, a couple things. I think you mentioned that the bars and things, or bars were allowed to open on Friday, along with a couple other segments, and more will be opening this Friday. I can't stress enough, check the county website. There has been a lot of movement in gyms and fitness and what's allowed to open there. We're trying to get some clarity on some of those changes, but it keeps moving around a little bit. Otherwise, we're working with the city attorney's office and others to see, what we do around social distancing and the enforcement and all those kind of things as more and more sectors reopen. So there'll be some more information coming on that. We also, I'm not sure, there's been discussion about the Shop Local program and things that the city would be doing to help small businesses and people in the downtown and outside of the downtown. That is moving forward, and it's being called Support SLO. A survey was out last week. I think it closed on Friday. And so we're gathering that information and determining the first steps. The first action will come to the PCC, which is Promotional Coordinating Committee, in mid-July. And then we'll move forward with those actions based on what we got from the survey and figure out the best ways we can help. Otherwise, that is all that I have today.
Great. Okay, so the Support SLO, that's going to be, do you have a timeline for when that'll start moving forward? When is that?
Mid-July. So they're doing the surveys out there. We have some things we've lined up that we thought we would do, but we want to make sure that survey aligns with it. The initial input seems like people are looking for more media attention rather than some of the things we were considering. So we'll be working with Verdin, who's going to be doing that program, on how we structure it and how we use our resources most effectively.
Great. And is this is going to be a campaign primarily targeting locals in the community to support local businesses, right? Not like attracting tourists to come in.
Right. It is more, how do we get people locally here for the day, that kind of thing.
Great. Well, we're excited about that. And I know this has been part of the work that we've been doing as Downtown SLO for forever. But it's an interesting to see, like last summer, for example, we sent out a postcard to 11,000 people in the downtown who were within 1 square mile and said, rediscover your downtown. And the response that we got from that was really positive. So we look forward to seeing how this can help our downtown businesses. And thank you for the report.
Okay. Anything else? That's it?
I think that's it for now. Yeah. Okay. Up next, we have Courtney Kino from Cal Poly. Courtney, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I was hoping to come to you today with confirmed plans for the fall, but we don't have them yet. So I'll tell you what we have proposed. And we are waiting for the Chancellor's office to approve those plans. So the first change would be shifting the start date for fall quarter to a few days earlier, and then having about just a little bit less than 20% of our 7,000 courses in person instead of all virtual. That's up a few percentage points from the 15% that we were anticipating just a few weeks ago. And those about 19% of courses that would be in person would continue through the Thanksgiving holiday, at which time we would transition to be 100% virtual. And the reasoning behind that is that after Thanksgiving, we really enter the intensive, what has typically been the harshest part of the flu season. So thinking with coronavirus that sending a lot of those students to their place of residence out of area, keep them there until the start of winter quarter in January. So again, we are waiting for Chancellor's Office approval of all of that. So none of that is final, but that is what we're proposing at this time. We have shifted registration for students for their classes to June 29th. Typically that's done much earlier, but as we are waiting for these plans to be approved, we needed to shift that back. So, and, you know, like always, we are working really closely with County Public Health and the CSU for guidelines and direction on all of that. And we would have to have really extensive testing, contact tracing, isolation plans, as well as a bunch of other public health measures to make sure that everyone that is here would be safe. And then shifting to the topic of commencement, we had introduced a plan to campus that, so sorry, backing up a little bit, this past weekend, all of our commencement ceremonies were done virtually. And we told the students who would have walked this past weekend that we would hold commencement ceremonies in December. If this plan that I just talked about is approved, we would not hold any in-person ceremonies in December because we want to keep people outside of the area for that portion of time. And instead, we would hold commencement ceremonies over 2 weekends in June of 2021. The first would be for those that did not get to participate this past weekend and our December 2020 graduates. And then the following weekend would be for all of our June 2021 graduates. So I think those are the major updates. Hopefully by next week, we'll be able to say whether or not all of those plans were approved. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wow, thank you, Courtney. That's really meaty information. Since I'm processing this, I just heard it for the first time as well. I'm wondering if you can talk about the the science behind, not the specifics of the science. I know you're not an epidemiologist, but the decision to not bring students or send students home after Thanksgiving and keep them home, that almost seems like it's a step backwards. And I'm wondering if you could share how that conclusion was reached.
Sure. Well, we working with the epidemiologists that both through County Public Health and the CSU, the California Department of Public Health. That was the idea, is to get students during that really intensive flu season, or what is typically the intensive flu season, to not be congregating as much. And so when I guess a question back to you, when you say going backward, what do you mean?
I guess I mean, we've been on this sort of roadmap to resilience and reopening, and I understand that it's not going to be a phased reopening, or that it'll even go back to normal without some kind of vaccine in place. That, I guess it just was surprising to me to hear that. It makes sense, certainly, but that's interesting. Do you have any information kind of related on what your international student enrollment is looking like at Cal Poly?
Yes, I actually checked in with our admissions 2 weeks ago, and it's really steady. It's not dropped at all, actually. So we anticipate that the same percentages that we've had in the past. Those students were offered to remain on campus. The students that were first and second years, they were offered to live on campus even when the rest of the students went home for all virtual learning, distance learning, through the last quarter. And they did. The majority of them did remain living on campus.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for Courtney? Okay, well, it's really important for us to know about this. Thank you for your update and for keeping us in the loop, especially with the numbers of Cal Poly students who work in our businesses and in our interns for our organizations and all of this. it has an enormous impact on all of us. So thank you for that. All right, next up, we will go to, oh goodness, I lost my screen. Excuse me. Rachel, what are we on next? Can you
We are
bring us
going to
back?
be welcoming Jim.
Thank you. Sorry, Jim.
No problem at all. Yeah, no problem at all. I appreciate being here. So just as a kind of quick update, we're now back in the building behind me here. So the chamber team visitor center is open as of about an hour ago. We've require masks, but we were looking obviously with the amount of folks coming into the community. I think we've put enough procedures in place to make it safe and effective so we can serve people. We will require masks when you come in. If you don't have one, we have some for them. So feel free to send your guests over if you have questions or they need any help. The store is open and about half the staff is in the office, including myself. So we are back here and trying to get everything, all that put together. And, you know, it was hard to leave. Now it's hard to come back. So we're working through all those pieces. Additionally, this week on Wednesday, we will be doing our mixer. Doesn't cost anything. Come on by, have a chance to register with us if you can. And it's really been actually what we found in our mixers have actually gotten better as we've done these virtually. So a lot more chance to connect and meet folks you haven't met before. We put them into small groups. This isn't a giant Zoom meeting where you try to speak over 100 different people. We try to get groups of 9 together and just talk to each other randomly to set that up. So really fun, interesting pieces come together with our virtual mixers until we can go back to the full group meetings. We also, we have some of our businesses who are doing special promo codes. If you look at if you're on our email list, I think it was Cromavera. Some of these others are doing, special pricing on their wine, so you can have a little drink with you while you're in the mixers. So hopefully you'll find some time to join us on that. Connect, find out what other businesses are doing right now, how they're reacting, are they open, when are they opening, and making some of those connections. So obviously trying to continue to work through all of the challenges of this time, but also trying to stay connected. This Thursday, we will have our free webinar. Actually, this one's going to look a little different. Last week, we talked about or a couple weeks ago, we talked about those PPP. No, that was last week. Boy, lose track of time. The PPP reductions. This week, we're going to actually talk with the YMCA and the city park to talk about what can we expect for childcare as businesses are reopening, what's out there, what's available, and how you can work through these processes with childcare. So if you want to join us Thursday from 2 to 3, and then Friday we do a working lunch on Facebook Live. Our next guest is Michelle Call, Executive Director of Gala. Talk about Pride, a huge decision today. So I guess we'll be adding maybe another topic today at the Supreme Court. So pretty interesting stuff. It's a half-hour conversation on Facebook Live at the Chamber. So it's always good information that comes out of that. And Bettina and the team, thank you for always having us, and we look forward to continuing working with you guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Jim. Appreciate that. I haven't had a chance to attend the last mixer, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And I imagine it's especially a friendly environment for the introverts among us who might not be quite so comfortable coming up and doing the small talk stuff. All right. Great. And I just want to remind everybody that we in downtown, as we've been reopening, we have been distributing these wonderful We Got These kits And this includes sanitizer and paper towels and gloves. So far, we have distributed 133 of these kits. And as the different industries continue to reopen, our ambassador, Austin Bertucci, will be going out and handing these out. And if your business wants one of these, get in touch with us, email us at reachus@downtownslo.com, and we can set up a time for you to pick one up. So just another brief note about our organizational operations. Our office is not open at this time, although our staff is working in here. We have lots of room to responsibly physically distance. But because our organization has reduced its operations and its staffing, we're not able to be open for regular business hours. We are available to meet with you if you'd like to come and have a meeting in this space, but you'll have to schedule that in advance. And we're hoping that we'll be able to supplement this information and change it going forward. But we are really in a moment where we're kind of reevaluating our programs and priorities given the financial realities facing our organization. But I want to reiterate that this does not mean that we have lessened our passion and our mission for creating a thriving, economically vibrant downtown San Luis Obispo. So we will continue to serve you, and we thank you for your patience during this time. So your Downtown SLO staff now is me, of course, Rachel Maiorino, Whitney Cheney, our farmers market manager, who is working to bring back the farmers market and integrate it into the Open SLO Streets program, and who also has become our kind of de facto website guru and IT director. So big props to her. And our ambassador, Austin Bertucci, who is sadly no longer sporting this stylish mustache, but he is celebrating his 5-year anniversary with Downtown SLO today. So I just want to give Austin a giant shout out for 5 years of smiling, of giving directions, of cleaning up our unspeakable messes, and for making downtown such a wonderful, welcoming place to be. So thank you for 5 years of service. Last week, our board of directors had a conversation about the protests that have been sweeping our country and our planet, about how we can take a stand and actively be anti-racist. We recognize that our values as an organization are really about bringing people together and celebrating our differences and our diversity. We want to foster a feeling of belonging. And in fact, the conversation around this topic was really started in a very significant way in February when we partnered with Race Matters SLO in our office space to showcase the remarkable exhibit that they put together called Belonging, Portraits and Perspectives of Black People in San Luis Obispo. In fact, we still have those portraits on our wall, even though we're not able to welcome people into our space at this time. And it's really been very profound to think about the conversations that started back in February and how they've been playing out. So I just wanted to take a minute to thank our board of directors for having the beginning of a challenging conversation, and know that we are, as an organization, really going to be taking a tough look at how our organization operates. And we're looking to our parent organizations, our International Downtown Association, our Main Street Americas, to figure out how we can be a part of this conversation as it continues. One of the tools that we're going to be using is from IDA, which is the International Downtown Association, and they've created this really wonderful toolkit for creating inclusive places. Now, usually, as a membership organization, their publications are only available if you have a login, but the IDA has now made this toolkit free for anybody to download. So you can find this link, and I hope, Rachel, you can throw this up in the chat so that we can all look at this toolkit. It has some really pertinent and important information in it. The report was published in 2018, but certainly its lessons are very timely, and it includes examples and case studies of different downtowns around the community. We also have been looking for Main Street America, which is another organization we belong to that is more focused on kind of smaller towns, smaller cities, and more of a Main Street network. And they have been doing a really great job of showcasing how Main streets are standing up for racial justice and equality around the country. So we look forward to sharing that learning with you, and we encourage you to participate in the conversation as it continues. We know that there are going to continue to be protests in the downtown. Black Lives Matter is not just a moment, but it's really a movement. And so while we realize that this has been disruptive to business activities, it's also part of a larger conversation about how we can transform our society and create a more just and equitable community for our Black and Brown brothers and sisters. So I want to just remind you all that these protests are being communicated by the city of SLO, and if you follow them on social media and on Twitter, they will keep you in the know about where protests are going, at what point they may be stopping traffic and making traffic delays. We do know that there is a planned protest for this Wednesday afternoon that will begin in Mission Plaza. That's on June 17th. But at this time, our understanding is that the city will not be communicating with businesses unless they anticipate seeing more than 500 people gathering in the space. So just to let you know that these protests will continue, and it's part of something that's larger, and we encourage you to educate yourselves and become aware of the issues that people are marching about. And now we're going to shift a little bit. We have Judy Mahan from the SBDC. Judy, are you out there?
I am.
Yay, great. I know we're waiting for you this morning. Thanks for joining us after your busy morning.
Yeah, no worries. There was some, I was talking with Rachel, and I thought that maybe we didn't have any specific updates for this morning, but then something came through this morning early. So at 8 a.m., I found out that the Federal Reserve has approved the Main Street Lending Program. So this is yet another new lending program available for Main Street business. These are business loans for small to mid-sized companies. It's for businesses that were in sound financial condition before COVID, but need loans to maintain operations. It's a 5-year loan program. So again, it's a loan, it's not a grant, it's not going to be forgiven. Principal and interest will be deferred. There's a specific chart on how the deferrals will take place, but big picture, the principal amount of the loan will be deferred for 2 years, and interest payments will be deferred for 1 year. And this is specifically to assist with cash flow interruptions. The loans vary in size from $250,000 to $300 million. So pretty substantive amounts on those loans. You business owners will have to check in with the lender. Banks have been able to apply to be considered a lender as of today. So the banks are applying to become an approved lender under this Federal Reserve program. So I'm encouraging business owners to check with their bank to find out if they're going through the application process. And on our end, what we'll do is we'll try to reach out to our bank network here in San Luis Obispo County and try and come up with a list of who's seeking to participate in this program. So that's encouraging, another opportunity there for local business owners. But again, it is a loan, it won't be forgiven, it's not a grant, but there's some really interesting deferrals available. So it allows you some breathing space at least for 12 months. So that's my update for this morning.
Great. Well, that's a pretty big range there. What was the floor was what, up to $300 million?
$250,000 to $300 million. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I wonder if any of our downtown businesses will qualify for a $300 million loan. Probably doubt that, but 250,000 maybe that sounds good too.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, and I know this information just came out today, this would be something where you would have to be an SBA lender to be a bank that would provide the loan?
Actually, this is a program that is being supported by the Federal Reserve, so not actually by the SBA. So the lender has to approve with, I think, with the Federal Reserve. I need to look more into it. I was able to garner kind of the big bullet points on the program. But business owners should check with whoever they bank with, I think is the first step. If the bank that they're banking with is intending to apply to qualify for this program, then that's the perfect pathway. If not, we'll make sure to try and get the data of who is lending locally under this program or intending to, and we'll share that list. We'll do an e-blast to our client list to update the list and share it with everyone as soon as possible.
Great. Thanks, Judy. And I know we have our Downtown SLO Board member, Carl Dudley, on the line.
That's right.
Carl, have you heard about this program, and will your bank be participating?
I've heard about it. I don't know at this point. I've sent off some requests to find out if we're going to participate. But I do want to find the $300 million applicant.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks, Judy. That's really helpful information. Really appreciate you being with us every week. And I hope that life has started to calm down maybe a little bit for you. Having some technical difficulties here. Sorry, just a second. I know we had a question in the chat. David, are you able to speak to the question about how the hotels were doing being open over the weekend?
I can certainly tell you how we're doing. And I'm assuming it's similar. I saw a lot of hotel doors open, restaurants this weekend as I walked about. So yes, they lifted the restriction, but this weekend was pretty much done. The food and beverage outlets were as busy as they could be considering the limitations, 10 to a table, 6 to a table, and of course the social distancing. But yeah, it's better than it was the week before, and it's better than it was each week. It's better. So we're hoping that once we go to phase 3, that it'll even be better for us. But right now we're operating at a net zero, and could be doing better if we could just allow more people through. But we're blessed with business, and it's good to be back open. And that seems to be the case for the other facilities in town as well. So especially downtown.
Great. And is your spa on track to open on Friday?
No. The restrictions are rather prohibitive currently, and I'm looking for some clarification on that. But you know, with the mask, the goggles, the gloves, it's not really a spa experience. I can certainly understand it for nails and that type of thing, but you know, to enjoy a full massage for an hour and a half with somebody wearing a pair of gloves, I don't know how that's going to work. So we're waiting for some more clarification and those restrictions to lift a little bit more. And maybe we'll start with reflexology and that type of thing, but we are not going to open on Friday at the spa. The earliest would be sometime in July. And again, it really comes down to a request for service and how we offer those services, what that looks like and what that feels like.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. Okay. Any other questions out there? We are at 10:48. We've got great minds on the line. Now is your chance to start your week off with all of the downtown resources that you need to make this week be successful and optimistic and uplifting. But I'm hearing crickets. So, well, thank you all for being with us. Again, reminder to continue to visit the county's website for the most up-to-date public health information. Please feel free to join us again next week and tell a friend. We will continue doing these programs weekly until we see that there's not really a need for them. But as we know from Judy's report, from Courtney's report, and from Luke's report today, every week we still see things unfolding and changing in our downtown. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. If you see Austin out there today, tell him happy anniversary and be well. Bye, everybody.